Joining me right now is Ohio Congressman and House Intelligence and Ways and Means Committee member Brad Wenstrup. Congressman, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thanks very much for being here. What do you want to see in terms of Eric Swalwell, given this information? Should he still be on your committee?
Well, I think we're certainly seeing perhaps why in the last 4 years he and others have been so intent on focusing on Russia. You just heard Director Ratcliffe talking about the numbers coming out of China. They have perfected this. I mean, spying like this and trying to have influence like this is not new, and some of the methods are as old as the hills. But China has definitely perfected. I have great concerns with Mr. Swalwell. I have for some time, but this just highlights it even more when we consider that this took place, and it took place even, I believe, before he was in Congress. They have a farm team, if you will. They reach out, they try to engage and make connections with people before they actually reach a higher level in politics. And this seems to be the case here. I'm very uncomfortable with the notion of sitting in classified setting with Mr. Swalwell. I'm wondering if briefers, as they come in to address us on the Intelligence Committee, are going to be comfortable if Mr. Swalwell is sitting there. And until we get a full disclosure of what took place and why supposedly he's not a problem, he is a problem until then. And I think that needs to be addressed. And I want to know what Speaker Pelosi knew and when, and same with Adam Schiff and when, and for that matter, Eric Swalwell and when, and also the FBI. So all these requests, whether it's through ethics or asking him to step down from our leadership, these all are playing out for very good reason, because this is a national security risk of the utmost, and if we don't address it, it's going to always leave doubt, and it should certainly leave doubt in America's minds. And you know, we get briefed on what to look for in these types of situations, and you know, we get briefed as members of Congress. I know I got him as a member of the military as well. And if you're vulnerable, or if you did nothing wrong, why don't you tell us what happened so it doesn't happen to others? But you say that it's classified material. Well, we can get in a classified setting, and I want to know what classified material he shared with Ms. Fang.
Well, you know, it's extraordinary to me because China put him there. I mean, you know, this is China's candidate. You know, she met him when he was a local politician. She raised money for him and did all of these events for him so that he would get elected as a member of Congress, so that he would get appointed to the Intel Committee. This was China's plan. And we know that they look at things, the Chinese Communist Party looks at things over a long-term basis. So she identified him, targeted him when he was a local politician, and amped him on to get and become a member of Congress. And the amount of time that has been wasted in the last several years, I wrote about this in my book, the fact that there were so many more hours in the Intel Committee spent on hearings and on briefings in the Intel Committee about Russia. How many hours did you spend on China, Congressman?
Well, as Republicans, I think we spend a lot of time on China, but we had to do a lot of it individually. And there would be, you know, an occasional brief on some of the things that China is doing, especially in the region. But there weren't really briefs on what they're doing within the United States. And that's the biggest problem. It was all about Russia. It was all about Trump. I can tell you, that you go back 4 years ago, there wasn't a topic we could bring up that the Democrats weren't trying to berate Trump in some way in the committee. Nothing with things that had nothing to do with Donald Trump.
I know. I wrote it in the book because some of your colleagues told me the number of hours spent on Russia hearings and briefings versus other national security threats, it was minuscule in terms of the amount of time you spent on China. So these are real issues. Do you think he's going to step down from the Intel Committee?
Oh, I don't think that he will on his own, but I think that we're going to have to take actions. You know, if this was a Republican in that situation, which, by the way, I don't know that it has occurred with any Republicans. John Ratcliffe may be able to tell you more on that. But if this was a Republican, I promise you that our party would say, you've got to step down. Matter of fact, you should probably leave Congress, you know, or certainly we have to have answers. And you know what? Share with us what they're doing so that it doesn't happen again.
Right. We'll wait for that. Let me quickly get your take on a stimulus package. House leaders meeting this week to talk about another agreement on an additional coronavirus relief bill ahead of the holiday recess. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says that a deal must be made before Christmas. I thought it was really interesting. I've got a story here looking at how some of the states have uncovered this windfall in tax revenue because of the stock market that has plugged some of these holes in terms of what the localities and the cities and states need. Will we see a stimulus deal, Congressman?
Well, I think that the talk has been a little bit more optimistic in the last 24 hours. This is a situation we find ourselves in so many years at the end of the year that it comes down to the leadership making a deal. But I do think that we have had a lot of input in it, and that's a good thing. At the same time, this isn't how we like to do business, but I think that you'll see COVID relief with stimulus combined.
All right, we will leave it there. Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much.
You too, Maria. Thank you.